Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Electronic Harassment Parent Coalition of Palm Springs, California. My name's Kevin Bond. I'm the host of the show, and I'm also the owner of the site. And tonight, I want to do something that I haven't done for myself in a long time, which is I want to defend myself because I've come under attack before for, saying what I know to be, the truth. So today's postings you're going to see are why I feel the way that I feel, in addition to a lot of other things. But I want everybody to know that I have always been justified in saying the things that I've said because there's evidence that shows it. Now, today's post, the big one, I always do a couple of posts because I always like to keep people interested. I try to make people laugh because this is a situation where, like, for 30 years, I have been harassed by one person. And finally, we're getting to a point where I can kind of, come to some conclusions as to who this person might be. And when I voice my opinions, because this is the only place that I can do that, I've come under scrutiny for it by the person that puts herself in the position to look like Lisa. And the problem that we've experienced in the past is we've got an overzealous police department that does anything they can for this girl. We've got a judge that does anything that Lisa says to do. And now we've got a person that absolutely fits the profile of this person. Now, you're going to see a post today that talks about when a person, cries about a rainstorm and then it rains, then they blame everything else on everybody else. What you'll see is the story of Sedona. And you need to understand that this trip that I planned was for my friends. It was for Anthony and Jonathan, so that we could all get out of town. I could say thank you for allowing me to work on this project from Jonathan's home. Thank you for the years of, being my friends. We were actually, the initial plan was to go see Kathy Griffin at the McCallum. And I thought that wasn't quite enough, because these guys have done a lot of work for me. So I thought, all right, well, I've got a timeshare. I can just talk to my parents and we'll go up to San Francisco. Well, San Francisco didn't work out. So my family likes to go to Sedona. So I thought, well, that'll be relaxing. And Jonathan's father lives in Arizona, so it's close. And it would just be a good idea. I mean, there was absolutely no malice at all intended. I was still on probation. I didn't know really about what Jonathan was going through or Anthony was going through. But I got permission from my probation officer to go out of state and spend some time with my friends. So it was an innocent enough trip, but boy, did it turn out to be something horrible. Just prior to the trip, I was at work like I am right now, and there was a high school reunion of some sort going on in town. And I was at work, and my boss brings in two of my friends that I haven't seen in like 25 years. Robin Dimmick and Tracy Coe, who, as you'll see on the blog, we take pictures and we're really good friends. I mean, we've been friends for ever and ever. But remember, while this is happening, I am already an electronic harassment victim. So everything that's going on, meeting these girls, seeing them after years, taking pictures with them, is all being seen by the people that harass me, including Lisa. So I have already, the night that these pictures are being taken, planned this trip to Sedona. It was going to happen in the next couple of days. And my friend Tracy, who you see in the pictures, the blonde, isn't out here very often. She lives in Maine. So, it was it only could have been, in a certain time frame that I saw her. And she doesn't, I guess, doesn't come out and visit very often, but here she is and she's taking pictures and we're really happy to see each other and everything else. And I remember my yearbooks have been stolen at this point and Lisa has them. So she knows who I'm friends with. And to see these girls with me that night irks the hell out of her. She doesn't like them. And so here we go, and I'm going on my vacation, and I, go down to Cathedral City to pick up Anthony, and we drive over to Phoenix together. And Jonathan is, for some reason, going to come over by himself. And I'm like, why are you doing that? But he wouldn't tell me. And I was like, well, okay. It just seemed like more, Lisa stuff. So Anthony, on a weird request, says, I'm just going to wait here in Phoenix for Jonathan to get here. And then we'll drive over together. And I thought, why? And I've said, you know what, forget it. If we're just going to do this, hijinks thing where, Lisa's telling you what to do and you're going to just do it, and that's the way you guys are going to be, I'm just going to go ahead and go to Sedona and check in. So I dropped Anthony off in Phoenix, and I go over to Sedona and check in at the timeshare. And I don't see Anthony or Jonathan until the next night. So I don't know exactly what happens between the time I drop Anthony off and the next night. I mean, we're talking like a full day. So I was like, what's going on? Well, as soon as Jonathan gets to my timeshare, he goes, we would have been here earlier, but Lisa gave me directions. And he says it twice. And I thought, oh God. So I automatically assume, and I'm already hearing Lisa's voice talking about, where I'm at and what I'm doing. I'm automatically assuming she's there. And Jonathan is obviously very upset at this point. Well, during the trip, Anthony asked to use my car one night, right towards the end. And he, wants to go over and talk to somebody that he's apparently talked to on adamforadam.com, which I thought was strange. And he gets back and he is in the foulest of moods. And I'm like, what happened? Well, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be like. And I was like, dude, and he is in such a mood that I was like, dude, what happened? And he wouldn't say anything, which is part and parcel of what happens with Lisa. And we drove back home. We went to the Grand Canyon, and he was pretty sullen and he was pretty angry, and he wasn't mad at me, but he was angry at something. Well, come to find out later that this woman that I had asked about on Facebook, that Jonathan told me was Lisa. I mean, he would have no idea who this woman was because I've never spoken about her before, and Sergeant Anderson knows I don't talk about her. All of a sudden, I start seeing these pictures of this woman who I said I'm trying to eliminate in my investigation as an informant for the police is Lisa, is in pictures with my very friends that I had taken pictures with just days before my vacation. And we're talking, this is like freaky. Because here's this girl that I have been told is Lisa. Jonathan's disappeared halfway through the trip to stay over with Lisa. And all of a sudden, Anthony goes missing for a few hours, and then he comes back in a foul mood. And I've heard since then that it was because of Lisa. And then there's pictures of this girl, the petitioner, I call her, with my friends that you see pictures of me with from the days before. And remember, Lisa knows that I've already seen these girls. And 9 months later, she has the nerve to file a restraining order against me for workplace violence, which made no sense to me, and says that she doesn't know any of my friends post-high school. She hasn't heard anything about me since high school. She's had a 4-year relationship with my police contact that she and he mutually broke off, and that somehow I'm obsessed with her. Well, then she goes on further to have a warrant issued for my arrest while I'm still on probation for something violent, which would have put me in jail. Through Commissioner Best, who is the most questionable person in this whole electronic harassment victim scheme. The same judge that gave me Prop 36 drug diversion on a burglary charge where no drugs were involved. The same judge that sentences Anthony, the same judge that sees Christopher, is still issuing this restraining order while a federal stay is on it, and he's doing it for the petitioner who Jonathan told me was Lisa. Now, if nothing is more Lisa-like than that, I don't know what is. For me, I want you all to know that I am justified in my feelings about this petitioner, whether she is Lisa or not, because of the actions and evidence that is there. Now, I know that Sergeant Anderson talked about her. And I know that Jonathan told me that she was Lisa. But if she's showing up places with my friends and then is saying that she doesn't know any of them, then she's lying. And then you look at the petition, and the petition doesn't give an address for her, which is, how am I supposed to know where I'm not supposed to be? You don't see anything that is normal going on around this woman. And I'm not saying that she's Lisa or not, but to me, she's getting a lot of Lisa treatment from the court, and I'm getting a lot of Lisa treatment from the court, just like it always happens. Now, to me, I want everyone to know that I am justified in saying what I say because of the evidence, Sergeant Anderson, because the evidence shows that this person was where I was. The only people that knew about the trip were going to be Jonathan and Anthony and myself and whoever else is surveilling me, and my probation officer, I guess. How in the world am I supposed to think differently 9 months later when I guarantee you this woman didn't say anything to her attorney about me being there? I guarantee you she didn't talk about my friends that she knows or that I was with them. And I can almost 100% guarantee you that this woman talked about me to these women that are my friends on that trip. It's a 6-hour drive. Do you think, honestly, that girls that I haven't seen for 20 some odd years aren't going to say something about seeing me the couple of days before, even if it's just to each other? It's ridiculous. It is a ridiculous assumption that I've done something wrong as an informant by finding out who the hell is following me around. And I want everybody to understand that after that trip, I get a warrant issued during my probation period, which could have put me in jail. Jonathan dies mysteriously of a massive coronary. I get a letter from Mrs. Monty's friend Dave, who I've never heard of. I get a letter from Mrs. Mendenhall saying Jonathan's dead, but he's here, but he's there, but he's not, that he was here and he was at home and all this other stuff. And then Christopher goes to jail because someone named Molly Bond Huss, which is the name of my dead cat, as you've seen, says that Christopher did something violent, which put him in jail while he was on probation. All through Larry Best. The only person that seems to get a favorable ruling from this judge seems to be the petitioner, who represents not only herself at the hearing, but the city of La Quinta. No attorney present. How can that be, Sergeant Anderson? I want to know when somebody is going to do something for me and my friends, because we don't deserve to be treated this way. And that's what I have to say tonight. I hope everybody understands that I'm justified in my feelings because the evidence shows it. Not just because I say so, but because the evidence shows it. That's why. Everybody have a good night. I love you, Christopher.